Hey, it's Gary King here. It's Friday, the 1st of August. Where's the time gone? I wanted to do a little chat with old Serge, with my brother Neil. We've done this through Telegram, so the quality's not too bad. Just covering a few things that are going on at the moment, and also to add some links for you to go and check out some people that we've been listening to the last week or so. Some general stuff. Beginning of the month, thing to do with France and what they're planning for the youth, for the 16th to 25-year-olds. Quite interesting. Why are they doing it now? But anyway, just thought we'd do a little chat, and here we go. It's Friday. What's the date today, Serge? I've got Serge here. Oh, it's the 1st of August. It's the 1st of August, mate. 1st of August. So we're doing this through Telegram. So hopefully it will come out all right. But we decided, old Neil there over in East Sandal. He came up with some things. I think it was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yesterday and day before, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday and the day before. So we decided to do a quickie here and cover some of these things. And now loads of people have obviously jumped on board with all of this, which is brilliant. But again, it does make you laugh when you start looking at some of these things and what people are saying about obviously constructed events and so on. But I was watching a thing yesterday on a channel called Understanding Conspiracy, and he's a guy in England. And he's written a book, and I'll put a link in the description below. He sort of triggered me off on checking out a couple of things on an organisation called Deagal, and a report that came out, I think it started in 2007, but came out in 2014. So we're going to talk about that quickly. Then we're going to talk about something that's supposedly coming out in France in September, which was a bit of a laugh, actually, to be honest, although there are nefarious connotations to do with that as well. We're also going to talk about our Book of Doom that we were supposed to be getting. It hasn't arrived yet. More fake pictures, fake nonsense, and so on and so forth. And a couple of other videos that are quite poignant to do with things that are going on. So anyway, we'll start off with what you sent me. I can hear him rustling his papers there. He's got his notes together. So in France in September, all of a sudden, out of the blue, they have decided to do what, Serge?
Mandatory military conscription for 16 to 25-year-olds starting from September 2025, which it says on the report from the minister, which will include foreign nationals who live in France and have residency.
Yeah, and it's if you haven't got a job, right?
Yeah, basically what it says. And of course, there's different reports and different information. So, you know, if we take our 10% rule on what's being published, whether or not it comes in to fruition or not, they're basically saying that, you know, you could come from the United Kingdom, Germany, wherever, and have children that have gone to school in France and have permanent residency here and have their cards, and because they live in France and they've got residency, they will be conscripted as well. So 16 to 25-year-olds. It doesn't actually stipulate how they're going to do it. Is it going to be you leave school at 16, you don't get a job, you've got to go into the military or anything else? I'm sure there'll be more information coming out. It would definitely be one that I'll be following to see what's coming. And of course, there's the, it's not possible that they can do that crew, as we know. And I've spoken to a few people and they say, it's not possible that's going to happen. Well, you know, again, if it's been published nationally, then there's a possibility that that's going to happen. And it talks about introducing the younger generation to the military and the stability for France, which I thought, you know, I thought it's very interesting, but it's very poignant, as you say, with the information that you spoke about before about this manual of safety and security that we should have got, about what you should have in your house, what you shouldn't have, you know, this doomsday book, and how all these different things are being introduced at a very similar period in time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, we'll wait and see. I mean, like you said, we talked about it yesterday, there's nothing wrong with people joining the military and learning some discipline and doing all things, so long as they don't become cannon fodder for some conflict in some other country and stuff like that. But like you said, without mentioning anybody in particular, getting some of these kids out of fucking bed, excuse the language, you might have to edit that, getting some of these kids out of bed that have finished school and aren't going to college and doing this and doing that and living off of the bank of mum and dad, and they've got their cars or their motorbikes and they
can't even cut the grass.
They can't even cut the grass. How are they going to get up and get into a military combat situation and learn?
Well, there's a guy, and you've seen the video, mate. He's an American bloke, but he's basically, and another one. I don't trust this bloke because he used to work for the government. So why would you trust him, right? But he did a video, and we watched it yesterday. Me and Mum watched it yesterday again. It's the second time we've watched it, and the points that he brings up about how to spot manufactured events and psyopses, psychological operations and so on, how to spot them. Now, what he reads out, he doesn't read it. He's a professional in this field. So he's on YouTube. He's got tens of thousands of subscribers and everything. He's still on there. He's not been taken down. He's giving away all the trade secrets. So, you can work that out again using our 10% rule. But the things that he talks about are all really what we now know as common sense. So why do they roll things out at a certain time? What else is going on in the background? Like they'll take a political event and then they'll use something to do with some plastic celeb, some divorce or something, and stick that over the top to distract. They do all these things. Anyway, it's very interesting what this guy does. So again, I'll put a link to that in the description as well, because they're obviously so much more advanced than we are, because that's what they sort of do, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, going on from that, the other thing I spoke to you about, which is, you can take whatever information you want, but there was that flashed up on the news feed, and then directly below it, as I told you, was the shooting in New York.
Oh yeah.
Just a quick one on this one, because obviously, it's just how these things link when they're going down. When you look at them on MSN or Google on the news things, it's just like, oh, let's look at that one. That one's quite interesting. This one says it's a must read. This one, no one's saying people didn't get shot. We're not saying that. We don't know. We weren't there.
No.
But we do know that things can be faked, or what's the word I'm probably looking for?
Staged.
There's more, staged, but there's more emphasis on this and that and the reasons why and stuff like that. So the recent shooting in New York with a 27-year-old called Shane Tamuru, who was from Las Vegas, who allegedly got in his car,
drove all the way to New York.
They knew he had mental health problems, according to the report in the New York Times. I read that one. It was a great report. He was known to have mental health problems and, different things about the NFL and banking and all the other stuff. So where does he decide to drive? He decides to drive into the centre of New York and walk into I can't remember the name of it, sorry, the Madison building, whatever it was, in New York, where it's the headquarters of the NFL and some of the banking systems, and blah, 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 blah. All seen on CCTV with an assault rifle.
Yeah, as always. In his glasses. He probably had to pay a $15 parking fee to park there. Came out and got wheel clamped.
Shooting people up. Like we see, and there's some, I won't say they're great photographs, but there's some good photographs that look evidentially. So according to the report, and I haven't read any further stuff on it, 4 people were killed, numerous people were injured, and one police officer was killed who was a Bangladeshi immigrant. And some of the people that we follow that do podcasts that talk about, they always have this person. He lived in Bangladesh. He immigrated to the United States. He became a member of this. He did that. Father of 2, went to this and that. Serving member of the New York police force for 3.5 years, has been designated as a hero police officer.
Always are.
Maybe true or not, was named Deagal Islam.
Right, there you go.
Now, isn't it funny? And they're talking about Islam. So anyway, this guy, Shane, who shot this police officer and injured a load of people in the reception area of this amazing building and that, decides, like I said to you, that he's going to go into the building with this assault rifle, and no one can take him out. He's on his own, remember, and gets a lift to the 33rd floor.
And there it is. Boom. That's as far as you need to see, isn't it?
There you go. And carries on shooting people.
Yeah. Well,
so, you know, whether or not, like we said, whether or not the information is true, false. I watched a really good thing on Netflix with this guy. I've never heard of him. A black stand-up comedian. Looked a bit like an older Eddie Murphy, but we'll talk about that another time. But he was saying about, you know, we're in a war. Yeah. We're in a war now. Yeah. And we're not in a war just with cyber wars or conflicts.
No, psychological.
That are going on allegedly around the world. We're in a psychological war of truth and lies.
Exactly, yeah.
We're either in a war of truth and lies, and who believes the truth that's being told and who believes the lies that are being told. That's the war.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the propaganda. Well, what this stand-up comedian said, it's a propaganda war.
Yeah, it's the silent war. It's the silent war. That's what they called it. And the funny thing is, going back, because we'll go back to this little thing about the army and what I think about the army thing in a minute, and then this Deagal report thing. But the funny thing is, and it's not funny because, like I said, what they're doing is they are projecting fear again. It's like when we spoke with Mike Williams. Good old Mike, big thumbs up again, mate. Mike Williams on the PSD podcast. You know, this fear porn thing, as they like to call it, it's keeping people in fear. So if you actually believe in your wildest imaginations that a guy with psychological problems drives from Las Vegas to New York in the first place, it's not a short drive, mate. It ain't like driving from Hastings to London, is it? It's right across the country.
No.
Right?
The Route 66.
Exactly.
You've done it.
Yeah,
You've done it. You did it.
Yeah, it is a long drive, right? So anyway, that aside, they always drop your numbers in. Now, when the ridiculous shooting of the Trumpsters here, you know, again, if anybody, I'm sorry, people out there, if you actually thought that was real, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you. You know, I was shot in the knee with a BB gun. It punctured a hole in my knee years and years ago when we were kids. But anyway, so there's no way that actor was whatever. Anyway, whatever way you look at it. But then you look at the so-called bod. He's the same nerdy-looking guy with glasses. He's able to get to a place where the Secret Services didn't know he was. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's even ridiculous us talking about it. But what was funny about that, again, and they did a little bit about it, but they didn't really make a big thing about it. But of course, there was a firefighter who was supposed to have been shot. He wasn't just a regular fireman. No, he had to be the chief, something like that. He was the chief, wasn't he? And then they do this memorial, right, which was just, I mean, comical, beyond belief comical, where they roll out on a stand this guy's helmet and jacket, his fire jacket, and it's brand new. You can see it, it's never been worn. It's specifically made for this event, and this is part of this thing, because when you looked at the characters sitting behind the Trumpster, you know, all waving their hands and jumping up and down, when the old so-called shots went off, none of them ducked. I mean, when the thunder cracks here, I'm like, oh, you jump. Nobody jumped. They were all actors. All those people were actors. And I know Matt from Quantum, who's a great guy and very, very funny, and he says they can't all be in on it. They are all in on it, because it doesn't take that many people to do this sort of thing. But going back to, like what you said about that, just happens to coincide with another thing that's going on and so on. But going back to the army thing, because we had a little laugh about that, because like old Serge said there, you know, we know a few bods that should be out doing something, you know, and they don't. But again, you know, we had conscription, I think it ended in the 70s, didn't it, in England? I think it ended, you know, national service and so on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what year, national service.
Yeah, right. So our farmer's son, he went in the army. We had conscription here and so on. The question is, why are they doing it now? 2, why have they given no time scale? So they've gone right, as of September. Well, we're in August now. So are all these little bods that we know sweating, going, I don't want to go in the army, Mum? Don't worry, dear. We'll come up with you've got a medical exemption or something like that, right? If I knew what I know now, if I was 20 and this come up, I'd go in just to get some training, right? But I would have to know what was going on, right? And old Serge there, old Neil, of course, he was a professional soldier, right? So why are they doing it now? Why are they doing it just after the so-called Doomsday Book was going to come out? Like Neil said, are they going to just basically double their force, buying all their gear from China, like we did? Are they going to double their force and then use these youngsters as cannon fodder? Because that's what normally happens. We don't know how long they're going to be in for. Is it a 2-year stretch or whatever? Is it
no idea? No idea. It doesn't say.
No idea. Is it a good thing? In many ways, it is. Also, do we really want a bunch of bods like certain people we know running around with guns? No, not really, you know. But again, if any of our intel is true, now we've got double the amount of people that are going to come around knocking on our doors, maybe. So there's all that involved in it. And we talked a little while ago when we did a couple of our chats ago now, I think the one prior to the Whisper Jack thing. But we said about this Doomsday Book coming out. We haven't received it. We're like really disappointed, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we don't know what the powers that be here are actually going to recommend, because they didn't actually stipulate this, that every household would get it. And then it went to, it'll be available online. And now there's probably information on it. And we've just gone, well, we'll see if they send it to us, which they haven't done. And we're in the 1st of August. So, you know, it's just another one of these things. Is it actually something that they're going to do? They've done, but they've given other people the opportunity to say, well, yeah, we'll go and look at it. So it's like you said. I know this is not really poignant to the conversation that we're having. It's just like you go to Bricko in Brief, and you used to get.
That's like B&Q. B&Q. It's like B&Q. B&Q for anybody who doesn't know.
You go to Bricko in Brief. Right? And you used to get served by people that would smile at you and ask if you've had a nice day and be polite. And there's some nice people there that know us because we've been there for quite a few years.
Like the lady in the woodyard.
Yeah. Now you've got the automatic checkout, which is meant to be quicker, but not if you're buying a whole system to replace your baller thing that you're pushing through. So the only till that's open there is for payment by cash or cheque. All the others are there. So it's like now we're scanning. And it's like you said, it's jobs for the boys.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with this book. So if this manual on survival, so the government said that they're going to publish this and it's going to be put out, it's going to be sent out to every household and all that. No. Now what they're saying is, you've got to do the work.
Yeah.
You've got to log online. You've got to download it. You've got to put it together and you've got to read it. That's no different, like you've said to me on numerous occasions. Well, actually, I'm doing your job. You're being paid to check me out and supply me with a service and say, have a nice day. But no, I'm having to do it myself and scan it all myself. But then all of a sudden, you go to the old thing and you pick it, and it says, no, you need authority to do this, like we've had in Bricko. You need authority. So you got to wait for the person to come over to the thing and then go, yeah, I'll put my passcode in and I'll authorise that. And they type out all this different thing and they say to you, oh, you've got to enter your postcode and your information now. Before you can actually go out of the shop with the stuff that you're paying for, either with card or cash.
Yeah.
So it's no different with this thing that we've been talking about.
Right, exactly.
They want you to do it online.
Yeah.
Same as most of the things that we've had to apply for since we've been here. We're doing the work that people are meant to be getting paid for, but they're not getting paid for.
No, exactly. Well, on that
will be the same with this. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was going to say on that note, that's a good point that you brought that up, because, again, anybody who listens to any of these channels and so on, if you choose to go through the self-checkout, you're an asshole. No, if you choose to go through the self-checkout, understand one thing: you are putting people out of work. I don't personally give a toss about it's convenient or it's faster, and it's not faster because most of these things never work anyway. But a friend of ours, or a friend of our mum's, a friend of ours actually, good friends of ours who now live back in the UK, used to live here. They think it's cool to walk into a certain store, load their baskets up, and walk straight out, right? Because it's convenient. But what happened to all those people that worked in that shop? They've all lost their jobs, right? So we saw it a long time ago, didn't we, with the toll booths in France. They've still got them in
France.
Yeah, they've still got them in Spain, but they're unmanned, right? Now, it's not particularly a pleasant job to have to sit there all day long doing that. But look at the tens of thousands of people, perhaps in all these countries, that have lost their jobs. Where are they going to go and work? Look at all the people now that, I mean, you know, when you used to go to Wally World, Walmart in America used to have the bag people. They bag your stuff up, they take it out for you and so on. If you keep going to the checkout, the cashier, that person will continue to have a job. If you stop doing that, they will lose their jobs. People who are cashiers, no disrespect, where are they going to get another job? They can't get jobs in restaurants and bars because they're all full up anyway. So where we live, it's the biggest juice and sort of jam factory called Andros in pretty much the world, I think, actually. Very famous. Everybody goes and gets a job there, but they can only take on a certain amount of staff because there's a certain amount of juice and a certain amount of jam that people want to eat, right? So where are all these people going to get their jobs? And I said the same thing, we may have discussed this before, to the woman in the bank. And she said to me, oh, you can do this on your phone. I said, I haven't got one, right? And she's like, oh, she looked at me as if I was like, had two heads. And I said, do you realise that by me coming into the bank, you will keep your job? If no one comes into the bank to see you, you're unemployed. Where does an unemployed bank clerk get a job? Not in a bar because they're all full, not at a checkout or a cashier because they're getting rid of all of those. So I implore people, don't go to the self-checkouts. Go and smile at someone, give them your money and walk out, right? They will continue to have a job. And it was the same thing when I told you I spoke to the girl in at First Direct Bank, and I always get, I said this before, I always get these Scottish girls and they always sound kind of cute and everything, nice little accent and so on. But I said, it's nice to talk to somebody. And she said, oh, thanks very much. And I said, yeah, and while I'm talking to you, keep your job, right? And that's it. And that's what they're trying to do. They want...
And the other thing is that we've talked about, and I said it to somebody, you know, they screwed the internet up, didn't they? Because of the wasps. And I've just got back on. But the person that spoke to me, obviously I spoke to the English line because it was easier, but I could have probably done it on the French line. But the person that I spoke to was so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. And it's like, we'll send you a link to an email to do the thing within 3 days. It'd be really nice if you could comment about my interaction with you over the 2 days and stuff like that. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, no problem. You've been so helpful and you've been so nice, and you're providing a service. Even though I'm paying for it, you're providing a service. And if it makes that person's job easier, and it is that reflective, because remember, I'm a trainer in reflective practicing. Better. Yeah. Where's the... I'm going to swear again.
Go on.
Where's the fucking email?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not come through. It's a week. So I am prepared to give the company good feedback, positive feedback about the interaction and the way this person, who probably doesn't like going into work every day and listening to people swearing and shouting at her, but was really nice, spoke very good English, provided a service that was 100%, and you have no opportunity to feed that information back.
No.
Because the whole system is screwed, mate. The whole system is screwed. And it's the same as all the information. We sort of digressed.
Yeah. Well, it's just an end of week chat, really, isn't it? So
yeah, you know, So it's one of those things. There should be more ways to link into certain things. But yeah, we've talked about a few other things, and as I said to you, I'm going to do a bit more research into one of the things that you said we'll mention, but we won't talk about it too much, about the overpopulation and the unsustainability of the amount of people, the population in the United Kingdom as of 2025. I know we don't live in the United Kingdom, but it links into all the different types of things that many people are talking about, not just the guys that we follow, Jack and the other guys and stuff like that, about population and everything else. And that a report that's come out as of June 2024, the population in England and Wales with illegal and legal immigrants rose by 700,000.
Yeah.
In 2023, here we go with the old number 33, the highest raise in the United Kingdom since 1949, 833, there's that number 33, 700, 833,000,
And with that...
As of this year, there's 13 million more people living in England and Wales. They don't mention Northern Ireland or Scotland.
No, they don't want to live in Scotland.
They just say England and Wales.
Too cold.
Yeah, it's miserable up there.
But
like
like we said earlier, right? When they put out these statistics, these ridiculous statistics, the first thing you look at is when you say like illegal. Well, how would they know then if they're illegal? They wouldn't know. Illegal means invisible. That means they don't know who they are. But anyway, the funny thing about that again, because we've looked into all this for years, like blame a certain group of people, blame a certain race. It's the blame game again, which is ridiculous, right? But we watched videos of them showing these bods coming in on these boats along the south coast and getting off and kissing the ground. They just happen to have camera people there to film them, and then running off into the distance, and then about a week later you saw the same people getting off of another boat, right? So they were just recirculating them. But what I was going to talk...
And they're all wearing shell suits.
And they're all like dressed in their 80s Vicky Pollard gear with their handbags and their fake Adidas training shoes. But going back to this Understanding Conspiracy channel, again, there's some stuff in it that won't appeal to everybody. It just happened to appear on... I can't remember what I was looking at, but I was watching something, and it just happened to appear, and I thought, oh, right, that looks interesting. He's an English guy, and he's talking about this thing called the Deagal report. Now, I won't say much about it because I don't know anything about it. I've never heard about it. All I know is that me and little Sarah did a video where we talked about, I think Sarah was on this one, where we talked about Jacques Attalli and what this idea was going to be about how they were going to get rid of lots of people. That came out, I think it was in the 80s, something like that again. Check out Jacques Attalli, right? He's a writer and author, but he's also chums with all these political puppets. They say he wrote it, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but somebody wrote it about how they were going to create something and then people were going to beg for a solution. They give them the solution, and the solution would be the demise of the people. But in this Deagal report thing that this guy did a whole thing about in the beginning of the video, again, I'll put the link in the description, it talks about how certain countries, UK, Ireland, Australia, America, I think Canada, where they're basically going to eradicate and knock down the population, right? I mean, by massive amounts. Now, if you and me put a paper out on my website saying that's what we would like to do, we'd have a knock at the door and disappear, wouldn't we? So, again, what he says, is this a psyop? Is this even real? Is this just fear propaganda again? But somebody has put that information out there, and for anybody that thinks that we're all nuts, it's a very disturbing document that people should take seriously. What is the term? What's it? Throw no caution to the wind or something like that. You have to be cautious, and you have to understand that these characters that we all talk about are not on your side. And that is period. right across the board, and more and more of it is coming out all the time. But what was kind of funny in this video was there's ads on there, and I know people are trying to make a bit of money out of these ads, but there was an ad that popped up, and I was like, look at this. It was an advert for military gear, and it was a site like, I can't remember what it's called now, Sooooooo or something like that, and it's a guy standing with a load of sheep, and he's talking in a sort of East European accent, and it was about selling military gear to the public. Now, why would that appear all of a sudden when you've got this doomsday book coming up, you've got chuck people in the army coming up? And then we had that one, didn't we, where they were suddenly showing these military flashlights. Everybody should have one of these military flashlights, and so on and so forth. Like, all this prepping stuff suddenly appears in a video on YouTube, which you'd never ever seen before. Are all these things linked up, or are people using these sort of channels as a place to put their adverts, to keep people thinking about, well, what do we need to do in case of like emergencies and stuff like that, which we've been doing for years, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you either get called a prepper or a conspiracy theorist or anything else. There's nothing wrong with being prepared for something that you don't know is going to happen.
Yeah.
Actually, in life, that's what people should think about. That, well, I remember going through things with the military and the police and everything, you know, being asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Well, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, but where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? It's one of the questions that I'm sure in industry all over the world, people ask people in interviews, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Well, forget 5 years. What about a year's time, 2 years' time? Because the 5 years was this bracket like we had, like you said, 2020, 2025, 2030. Well, things change so much within months, years now. It should be like, what are you going to be doing in the next year?
Yeah, 6 months.
We know what we're going to... Yeah, 6 months. We know what we're going to be doing because we're prepared to do that. We know what we're planning. We know what veg we're growing. We know all these different things. And there's so many people out there doing the same things as us that publish it on YouTube, which is cool. They're making money from it and everything else. If you're doing it for yourself, there's a bigger benefit. I think there's a bigger benefit, and we talked about this, about the benefits of growing your own veg like we've done. Like you said, if you'd have done it 30 years ago, you'd have forgot the music side. You'd have done your music side as a back kick, back side of things.
Yeah.
And you'd have focused on the other things. I mean, last night, as I said, I went to my friends, as you know. They had a great barbecue, fantastic food and everything, and they said, I've got here, they call it le poisson avec le main vert, so I've got green hands.
Yeah, green.
So in England,
green fingers we call it.
We called it green fingers, don't we?
Yeah.
And he said, there's no one they know around here that can grow veg like me. And I said, that's because of all the research we've done over 2 years.
Exactly. And like you said, if we'd done it years before, we'd be so much better at it, but everything takes time.
Yeah.
You know, again, me and Sarah did a thing about the old prepping thing, and people laugh at you and so on and so forth, and you go, yeah, but you've got a spare wheel in your car for what reason? Oh, in case you break down.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of scenario, but these things are coming more and more to light, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that we talked about this earlier, just another thing without going in, because there's loads of people that have already done things on this. The old 8.8 magnitude earthquake off of the peninsula in Russia on an island or below an island that's got no inhabitants.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a guy in America last night that I gamed with, who said that they were on a national alert warning for a tsunami.
Yeah, hilarious.
And he lives in America.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, no shit, it's coming our way. So he said that, you know, Hawaii had waves that were over 5-6 feet tall.
Yeah.
hitting the beaches and stuff like that. Yeah, he said surfers go out and do surfing on 10-metre waves, not 5 feet.
No.
You know,
It's hilarious. And
all
that's
that
what
type
Matt
of stuff. Yeah. And as you said, Matt did that. And as I said to you, what was really, really funny was that all that time that all this is going on, apart from now because of the 8.8 magnitude earthquake, there's at least 4 volcanoes around the world, the one in Russia as well, one of the largest ones that's never been mentioned before that has erupted. Trump is still playing golf.
Yeah. I told you he was going there to play golf, didn't I? but you know what is funny about all of this? Again, we talk about these things, but we don't know anything, right? No, we don't really know anything. Like it's gut instincts, and you know that looks ridiculous. That's the silliest thing I've ever seen. But what makes me laugh is when you see, and I keep getting these feeds. I don't know why I keep getting them from There's a guy talking about geology and what's going on, and it's like, mate, you haven't even been there, you've never been to Hawaii, and I mean, as if they're like these major authorities on things that are going on. And then what's funny about that is they start posting these video clips, and there's this great video of this kid, I think it's a kid, standing in the sea, and you can hear the siren going off, and they added that siren to the video because as the camera or the phone pans around, nothing changes, it stays exactly the same. It's a fake video, another fake video, and all that the press has to do, being what they are, which we won't use the term for them here because it's probably grossly,
we don't want to get banned.
Impolite, but it's not impolite because they deserve it anyway. But they put something out, and again, just like in 2020, everybody jumps on board and believes it without even looking at something and saying, "Hang on a minute, that looks a bit shit. That doesn't look real." And they all jump on board, and of course, as a lot of people have said over the years, this is how they're going to push this spinning ball, climate warming, boiling, freezing chain that's all our fault, and that's what they've been after, pushing out for such a long time, right? And it's
I've got to mention. Sorry, I've got to mention the old the wasp, whatever it was. The
hilarious. A radioactive wasp nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this thing popped up, and it showed.
Seriously.
It showed this. It says ex-military nuclear base, and it shows this picture, and it looks like lots of circles in the desert, or in the ground, whatever. And it says that they've just discovered They've discovered a radioactive wasp's nest. Right, well, first off, like you said, when you ask the questions, who went there in the first place, why, and how would you even, what are you going to do, go and grab a wasp's nest, take it back to the lab with your silly glasses, your mask and your pens, right, and then test it for it? Of course not, but it says could be a threat to people, and it's like, anything, just that they must be desperate.
It just reminds me of the film Evolution.
Yeah.
Where they got the bit and they take the old fire engine out, and that is an eye opener. If you guys out there think that Evolution was just a comedy film, just look at it and look at why it was called Evolution. Look at the number, and we won't mention the number.
Oh yeah. Look on the fire truck.
We won't. Yeah. Don't tell them what it is. Look at the number on the fire truck if you're listening to us, and all the other bits and bobs that go along with it, and the hairspray stuff and everything else. And now he goes up into the rectum as well. That is actually talking about shit that goes on that people don't like to talk about. You've mentioned this on numerous occasions. Paul. Think about Paul.
The movie Paul, with Simon the Peghead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why do you think that?
Why when Nick Frost suggests the fact that Paul looks just like an alien, he goes, "Why do you think I look like that?" Because you've been spoon-fed and drip-fed my image over the last 50 years.
Spoon-fed.
Yeah, on lunch boxes and things like that, right? And that is kind of what they do.
It's like the images you sent me, the photos you sent me last week of Miss Ukraine pregnant, standing in a blown-up building.
I'm going to use that as a thumbnail.
The other ones with the fake glass,
the fake old broken glass.
I mean, no one's saying shit doesn't happen in these countries, what we're saying is it's just the publicity and the lies that.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
told.
yeah, yeah. But I was going to say, on that note, going back to, because we've been yakking for nearly an hour here, unbelievably, right? But
50 minutes, 50 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, I always like to go and have a look at some of the nonsense going on in the yellow and blue, because I mean that was my baby, right? When I did that thing with Sarah with the Instagram army and everything, which is still on the channel, they never took it down as of yet. But that was quite funny, because again I was on that straight away before even half the people even knew how to spell the word, let alone
Yeah.
So it shows old the little green dwarf, old Zed Zelensky, the FTM, in it with his little sad puppy dog face, like, oh, nobody likes me anymore, right? And it says, you know, that the public now are anti him and all this kind of stuff and so on, and just kind of like, you know, how they do the switcheroo. But it showed this. I got this picture which I sent to Sergi, just mentioned. It shows this woman, so-called woman, standing in this bombed out building. And it says ex-Miss Ukraine 2018, pregnant, standing inside her bombed out apartment, right? Everything's gone. My life is in ruins and all this rubbish, right? When you look at it, you just go, first off, who would allow their pregnant girlfriend, wife, to go into a bombed out building? She hasn't got a hard hat on, nothing. And he's just standing there in a building that looks like... Well, first off, it doesn't even look like it's been hit by any kind of armament. It looks more like it's had an earthquake or something, right? And the description said it's been turned to ashes. Well, then nothing's been burnt, right? And there's an old fridge in there and that. And I sent it to you, didn't I? And it's like, there's no way they would allow a pregnant woman in there in the first place. It's a staged picture again, and it makes my toes curl.
Yeah, it's a photograph out of Army of the Dead.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it is. It's a staged photograph. It's something that we know from the documentary they watched that they can do.
And all these bods are on there going, oh my God, this poor woman. It's like, it's not real. Anybody with 1 ounce of common sense would look at that and go, why is a pregnant woman standing? What if it all came collapsing down on top of her, right? And then the very next building, or the next picture showed the like the front of a building with, I think it was like 8 windows and then another row of 8 windows. Some of the windows were missing. Some of the glass was in perfect condition. There's a bloke peering out of one of the windows, and you can see it's not real glass. It's fake broken glass, because glass does not break like that. And if something had hit that building, it would have taken all the glass out, not left little panels. And they're not little panels, they're big panels, like 2.5 foot, 3 foot, whatever. Again, another staged picture. And there's a reason why they have to stage pictures, and that is because, and like Whisper Jack said, they have to stage pictures because they don't have the real evidence on hand. And I just thought it was hilarious. But going back just quickly, and we'll end on this one, I wanted to bring this one up because I thought this was funny. It's just got nothing to do with anything new. All these bods out there, I said this on Mike's channel about these couple of girls that are talking about the island and the list of all these people on the island and everything, you know, and they've got, you know, tens of thousands of views and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, do you really think any of these people are going to be pulled out and go to jail? Answer is no. Simple as that. Same thing with the P. Diddy, Sean Combs nonsense. It's all staged. It's all fake. None of it's real. No one's going to jail. That is, I lay money on it, right? And that is the way it's all set up to pull people in. But do you remember when the Convid scam kicked in? And I want to give a big thumbs up to Mike Stock, songwriter, musician, producer Mike Stock of the Hit Factory in England. I watched a great interview with him, with Mike Williams on the PSD podcast, but also one I've saw recently. It was 3 months old. Again, I'll put that in the description. It's called Planet whatever Uplift, and Mike really drops a bombshell on what he thought and what he thinks about the nonsense, the 91 Divock. Cheers, Chris and Dom again. But do you remember when all that kicked off? What was the big thing all the people online was talking about? All the conspiracy theorists, all the people looking at it, they were saying, you wait till Nuremberg 2. All you lot are going to pay for this, right? Do you remember that? Nuremberg 2. Nuremberg. What happened to all those people that was shouting their mouths off in the late 2020s, early 2021s about how they were going to take the system down, how they were going to expose what happened in 2020, we were even getting emails from sites saying sign up to the Nuremberg 2 website. You remember all of that? Nothing happened. It's the same. It's that wash, rinse, repeat over and over again. Everybody jumps on the bandwagon. And I think, I don't know what you think about this, mate, but a lot of these channels, they're prepared to go 85% into it, but they're not prepared to go the whole 100%.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, people have got to make money. It's one of the things, channels, people follow channels. As I said, some of my friends out here, as you know, and we won't mention any names, are insistent on publishing everything about the trails, everything about this, everything about what's going in France, everything about the government, all these different types of things and all that. But they're not quite there. They're about 85% there.
Yeah.
Because they support the other shit. You either support it or you don't support it.
Yeah, you can't. There's no. It's no on the fence.
Yeah, there's no grey or white area as far as I'm concerned. And makes me laugh because I always think of it, and I've had bizarre dreams about it. People probably think, okay, rhubarb and custard.
Yeah,
hey, rhubarb, dogs aren't meant to sit on fences, and it's like, you can't say, well, I agree with this, but I disagree with this, if you're in that genre of person and thought that disagrees with the majority of the things that we disagree with. The other side of it is that, well, have we been told, a generation of people, that this was this for this reason, that was this for this reason, and everything else? And our generation that we've talked about is completely different to the modern generation. All the lies that are being told to the younger people, they believe what they believe. We believe what we believe because of our age. Mum, grandma, our granddad, they believe what they believe because that is the way story was told.
Exactly, yeah.
Truth and lies.
Yeah.
Now, one of the main films that I watched recently that made me laugh about truth and lies, and I said, watching this stand-up comedian that I'll send you a link to him, we'll have to watch him. It's like Truth and Lies.
Yeah.
True Lies with old Arnie. True Lies.
Yeah.
About life and lying and industrial espionage and all these different types of things. And they've been telling us, as you know, and so have many people, for many, many, many years. And people just, yeah, great film. That was a great film.
Yeah.
Didn't like it as much as the other one, but it was a great film. The whole ethos behind everything that you've been saying and Whisper Jack's been saying, and the sheep farmers and the other guys and everything else, at the end of the day, believe what you want to believe. There's a certain percentage of information that you should analyse and say, well, there could be a possibility, there might not be a possibility. We don't know whether this stuff that's going to come in September here is true or not. No. Just because they publicise it doesn't mean it is. Same as doesn't mean because the other things that we've spoken about tonight are actually going to come to fruition. Yeah. But it means that we've paid attention to what's going on around us. And at the end of the day, shit happens. Shit happens. Yeah. The old predator. And you have to be ready to deal with it. And if you're not ready to deal with it, I mean, the main thing for us, I think, at the moment is this finding out about this doomsday book.
Yeah.
We were going to do a podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be hilarious.
Book, and we can't find any more information on it. So maybe we've not looked in the right places, but I'll do a bit of research.
Yeah, do a bit on that. They put this stuff out for people to tap into, again, to use the old fear on people. But what I was going to say, just to end this, various comedians in the past, like George Carlin, he was obviously one of them as well. Bill Burr, that we used to find extremely funny. He talked about 10, 15 years ago about chipping people. You know, he covered so many subjects of things that are going on today. He talked about depopulation, how he'd like to sink cruise liners with loads of people on and stuff like that, get rid of a load of people. You know, they've all talked about this stuff. That idiot Stanley Johnson, sorry mate, Bojo's dad, I think about 10 to 15 million people in the UK would be fine by me. If we said something like that, people would have us locked up, right? But what I would say, again, like we've talked about before, at the end of the day, if anybody out there is prepared to, for whatever reason, whether it's money, power, stature, whatever, to do ordinary innocent people harm, then you need hanging from the yardarm, as far as I'm concerned, right? I mean, there's always going to be some kind of problem, like there's always going to be some greedy bastard that wants to take over the town or something like that. But when you understand that every debauched event that happens around our realm is caused by the same people that you think you vote for and the people that they work for, when you realise that, all of a sudden it's like a revelation. It's like you almost free yourself by saying, I am not going to conform with anything that you have got to say. And I don't mean speeding, robbing people, parking on double yellow lines, selling drugs. I'm not talking about those sort of things. I'm talking about this other stuff that they try and coerce regular members of the public to get into, which nearly always ends up with somebody either getting hurt, killed, harm done to them and so on, or frightening them half to death. And I would, on this last note, before we say au revoir, I'll put this understanding conspiracy and just watch the first part. If you watch the first part and you scratch your head and you say, well, somebody wrote that, and it wasn't the guy who's presenting it in the video. You look at that and then you tell me how you can turn round and wave a little flag, right, on any of them, wave a little flag or say, oh yeah, the UN, they're on our side, really. You know, UNESCO, all these little organisations that are all combined under one roof. And you say to yourself, well, yeah, these people are there, or these characters are there for the people. You got a lot of waking up to do, and it's not about the awake thing. Let's get people awake and so on. All these terms that they used in 2020. But there is some interesting things on the cards, as you've mentioned, mate. And here we are. We're not that far off of another new year. And you'll see things. And of course, they're now pushing the alien invasion thing again. I don't know if you saw this, to just end on this one. They apparently, was it million miles away or something? They've discovered this big thing that they think could be a spaceship about to attack Earth. I'll tell you about that one later, but it's dead funny. Anyway. Yeah. Anything else, mate, on the cards? Anything else that you have to say?
No. I'll have a look at the up-and-coming events around the world.
Yes.
Our percentage of understanding is not because we're just bullshitting people. It's because we review things and we analyse the information that we review, and we make our own decisions on what we think is correct, lies, truth, possibility.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the main thing that we should push for with people, same as other people that we subscribe to and listen to. It's just like the possibilities. No one's saying that, you know, the stuff that Whisperjack puts out is all true or false or whatever, but he puts a relative session of information with photographs from history, his story, not his story, but history across, the same as photography. I can't even say it. Photography. You know, in that I'm a qualified professional photographer, through different things that I will look at photographs, I will look at things that you send me, and I will analyse them. Doesn't mean I'm right, but it just means that I'm capable of analysing information, same as you are with the music industry and everything else.
Yeah.
So I think the main emphasis is that information technology that people should look at and say, well, this is possible, this is not possible, this is the way it should be, this is the way it should be. This AI shit, and we won't get into that, we'll do that on another day. It's just insane, the amount of information that's being put out there, that people are saying, this is great. This is great. No, it's not great.
No, it's
not great.
It's not. Anyway.
They're taking the reality away from what's out there that should be reviewed and investigated properly.
Exactly. Well, anyway, it's like I said, it's Friday. We've got a few events coming up, which is great next weekend. So
give us a buzz when we hang up.
I will. I'll buzz you on the phone. I'll call you on the old dog and bone.
Mate.
Anyway, thanks for everyone listening in again. And like I said, I'll put the links in the descriptions below. And I highly recommend you watch the one with Mike Stock. It's very interesting. I'm hoping at some point I'm going to get to talk to him. But we'll say au revoir for now.
A bientôt.
A bientôt.